Hey, 28 millimeter RPG, Rick here. Well, that was, if you see my last live session, wasn't so live. We had to go ahead and record it. Little bit of an issue that I had with OBS. So, weird thing was I had everything all set up. I was using Stream Elements as well. And there was an update. So I applied the update. Everything was seemingly working, except I didn't. Everything like preliminary streaming, everything seemed to be all hooked up, ready to go, ready to stream. And yeah, it said I couldn't stream. So there was some sort of an error that was blocking. So every time I hit the start streaming button on OBS, it would end up coming up with a weird error that suddenly turned my start streaming into a non-functional button and wouldn't let me do anything. So we kind of just said, okay, well, we'll try this, try that. It said there might be something wrong with my video card with it. Something. I checked for the updates on my video card. Nothing was amiss on there. It's all up to date. So I ended up figuring it out. I did one more update to OBS, and because there was another one pending, and I ended up pulling off the Stream Elements as well. So I killed that off. It was kind of like an add-on to the to OBS, a mod, and so one of the two ended up fixing everything. So now I can stream. So at least at least my stream button is active. So it's not doing the same thing it did before. Everything seems to be okay, but the pain in the ass was, having these technical issues and thinking everything's all cool and straight, everything worked the day before, and here's something happened. So I don't know. Technology astounds me. So many cool things you can do with it, but yet so many setbacks whenever things go wrong. So despite that, we ended up putting up the recorded session. It was kind of hard because I was like, my brain was still on what's wrong with OBS. Like, it's just always kind of gnawing at you in the back of the head. And these are some of the crazy distractions that seem to infiltrate the hobby when it comes to online activities. And had we just been regular face to face, at the table here and in front of each other, rolling the dice, doing the things, being in character, it's a challenge. The online thing is a challenge, and it's like an additional thing that you have to think about all the time when situations come up with doing what you want to do online. It's not so bad when it's like, okay, we're all using the same virtual tabletop. We're talking to each other through either a Discord or a StreamYard or something like that. But then there's the added thing of broadcasting the entire thing through a program that's going to ship it to YouTube, Twitch, or whatever. For my case, it's YouTube, and you're relying on a lot of things to hopefully go right, and a lot of, hope that nothing goes wrong. But yeah, when it happens and you're, it's just like, oh, it's always weighing in the back of your head. And that's kind of how I felt with game mastering the session. You can kind of tell I was kind of still, it was still in the back of my head. All this, I was still thinking about it. At times when it was when the players were talking to each other and stuff. And I'm kind of sad that our session. Well, it was okay. It was an okay session, but I thought it could have been a lot more. I could have been a lot more focused and such. So, um, yeah, it kind of sucks. But the now that I know where the players are, I can kind of focus on their situation now that they've chosen their destination as waypoint. When you're working with Traveler, it's like you don't know where these guys are going to go next, and and if they're like if they're on the move in the beginning of a session, um, you got to it's nice to have something prepped. In this case, I had two destinations that they could have reached, or actually a third if they wanted to go back, which was also an option. That could have been done. They decided to proceed forwards. We introduced, of course, a little kind of situational. Couple of the crew members have come down with some sort of a virus. And obviously, because they are not they're not from this region at all. They're from an entirely non-starfaring version of Earth, and in that kind of a situation, I kind of like keep in mind, with stuff like maybe you a couple of people out there thought I was like talking about vaccinations and stuff in accordance to like real life things that we have in our situation nowadays with everything. It entirely is not dealing at all with that kind of a thing at all. I was just thinking of different things that you may want to, like, as our species ends up going forth possibly into the stars within maybe 20, 30 years, maybe even longer than that, further on in our future. Some of the things you got to really think about is, what about encountering different organisms, microorganisms, that would definitely wreak havoc on our systems, because it's a totally different biology out there, and it could cause issues with future astronauts or planetary scouts. There's things to think about, and it could be an issue in the future. Say somebody travels to a star system, they check it out, they end up discovering new life forms, new microorganisms and stuff. And that's the thing. They come back. Hey, they could be bringing back a virus from the from another star system, which could wreak havoc upon the ecology of everything. So that's a thing that can be a potential scary thing in the future. And of course, with my games, that's part and parcel with with this traveler system, stuff that they didn't really think about. It didn't really talk much about it. at least in some of the books that I've been reading over. But um, yeah, it's stuff that I mean, you can always look at real world examples or watch a movie that you've seen with some sort of weird happening. And in this case, well, you're going to see probably interesting scenario occurring from it. We did end on a cliffhanger, a bit of one, and we kept pretty darn close to our yeah, we kept to our hour and a half session. We exceeded it by 4 minutes, but hey, that's what happens. We had some issues with Spencer had a mic issue that happened before we started recording. Josh had a mic issue, so it was a whole bunch of crazy issues happening. So, and of course, yeah, it gets your head out of sorts, and you kind of feel like a little bit out of phase from what you want to do with role playing when you got that on your mind. So, anyways, it looks like everything's good to go for this. Well, you'll be seeing this in the morning, so Monday morning, and you'll be able to watch our Cypher System game, which will be occurring tonight at same time, 9:30 as well. So this one should be going off with a little less problems. The only thing that we can foresee is possibly, just doing some mic checks and everything beforehand. But even then, stuff happens. You have disconnects with the Bluetooth. You have disconnects with, your battery runs low, that sort of stuff. So issues like that. I have all my stuff. My headset's wired, so it's just an old Sony headset that I use. I got to get a new one. Mine is starting to fall apart on the inside. You can see the stuffing is coming apart on the inside here. So I don't know. So yeah, and heads up. A little bit later on, I'm going to be this is going, and you're going to see me with a fresh new face again. So yeah, we've got a bit of a warm break happening. It's supposed to be going into the minus 20s a little bit later on this coming weekend. So but I should have a little bit of growth coming back before then, and just keep my face a little bit on the warm side. It's a nice thing about up here. You grow the facial hair during the super cold time. It definitely helps keeping your face warm and from freezing your lips off and stuff like that. I tell you, it's seriously cold up here when it gets cold, and it's pretty brutal. I've seen a lot of people missing fingers and toes around here. So it's a place where you don't mess around with the weather up here. So if you're encountering cold that's that brutal, we're talking like minus 40 to minus 60 Fahrenheit for you guys down in the States, minus 40 Celsius to minus 56 Celsius. That's usually the range that we get up here with the cold. And it's brutal. You stick your face out there and you feel it. It takes your breath away. It bites at your face like quick. And you have to make sure that you're well covered up for those kinds of situations. Even the vehicles have a hard time trying to start, so you have to make sure all your vehicles are plugged in, and with the block heaters and stuff. So, but anyways, that's all I have to say for tonight's session. Last night's session, as far as you'll see. I've recorded this right after the session was uploaded. I had to make sure everything's good, and it looks like everything's cool. And yeah, we did get the session up. Sorry guys about not being there as a live session, but it's as live as it can get. I didn't do any editing to it whatsoever, so it's what it is, and we have to live with it. We must go forth and become better role players as we carry on. I see GM Zelkov, GM Fritz has been going with his sessions. I actually catched a little bit of his Pathfinder, and the guys were role-playing away in character. There wasn't any, from what I've seen, from what I saw of that part of the session, there wasn't any like talking about mechanics and stuff like that, pulling their heads out of the, the immersion that they were getting into. Yeah, it was a little, there was some parts where I just couldn't help but to laugh. But when you gotta laugh, you gotta laugh. You have to be able to laugh once in a while and enjoy it. So, anyways, that's my GM diary for tonight. Not so much of a talk about the game, but more or less about the technology and the issues that you can have when streaming. But hey, if you like what you see and you think you can have fun learning from us, and we learn from you, we listen to your input and all that stuff. Hey, subscribe. Just do it. Hit the subscribe button. It's calling your name. Saying you Trubian, join us.